Hi there.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Today we are talking about shooting longer films. I'm just finishing up my first feature-length documentary right now. We have some exciting announcements about that. Been working on it for over a year. But I'm gonna be hanging out with a friend who's been working on a project for quite some time. And we're gonna talk about some tips on how to shoot a longer project. Does it just pull it? You built this. None of this feels up to code. I'm like legit sketched out right now. I'm in socks, and I'm probably more concerned I'm gonna get paint on my shirt. Do I need like a certain amount of subscribers to go down this?
No, but I should probably have you sign a waiver. Yeah, let it slide though.
What? But I'm gonna burn my arms. There's bolts.
There's fine.
There's bolts.
Slide the pull, Mark.
Oh, my hands are burning. Legit was just thinking these were from up there. I thought they're nothing. I'm not a fireman or an experienced pole magician. That's what they call them these days, right?
I thought you were gonna say pull slider. I was gonna say like I'm real good at it.
And now, Mark Bull and Peter McKinnon in the crossover event.
Why is Mark making me do this?
Watch him just destroy the felt just straight through.
How do you rate that?
Not bad at all. Oh, this guy. It's gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
I thought you had it. No. Maybe we should just go talk cameras.
Yeah,
instead.
probably. Yeah, let's go do that. Pete, what is this?
This is the original 1DX Mark II that I started this channel with. I took it apart for a video too. I peeled all the grips off because the screws are under there. It was like a puzzle. And took it apart just to put it back together. And then I had 6 screws left over.
That's amazing.
So I threw them out. And it still worked. It was great. It's like that's the one that started my career, and this is the one that started my whole journey as a photographer.
That's amazing.
Sister bought me this as a gift, and I only used it because I was past the return policy at Best Buy. So I bought a memory card instead of giving it back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've been told that I make a lot of noise when I drink.
Okay.
And I say afterwards. And you know what? This
You're
is
appreciating the flavor notes.
It's my first video with a flip LCD screen. 3 years into my YouTube channel.
Really?
Yeah. Just want to make sure you're not in the corner there. Otherwise, you're gonna look giant and I'm gonna look tiny. You're gonna look giant and I'm gonna look tiny. Okay, one sec here, guys. This is pretty embarrassing. I promise you this, Pete is not a giant. I shot this on a 16mm lens at 2.8 with Pete in the corner. Feels like it's my first day, doesn't it? You can actually see in the interview, I keep glancing over thinking something looks wrong here. So enjoy this conversation about professional filmmaking as I shoot it like a complete amateur. I don't even think I'm in focus once in this interview. So Pete, you've been working on potentially feature length, but one of your longest projects.
Yeah.
What have you learned? Because it's a different beast.
Oh man, what have I not learned? I've basically uncovered that I know none of... I don't know what I'm doing. I do and I don't. I learned that I didn't properly set my expectations at the beginning of this project. I treated it kind of like a YouTube video. I'm used to turning around things really, really fast, making a video, posting it the next day, posting it the next week. So when it came to this project, I started filming it, and it kind of just, I didn't go into it like, this is gonna be a doc. I thought like this might be cool if I end up making one, and then I started to go down that road. It became one, and I just kind of assumed I'd be done in like a couple months. And then after a few months, I didn't really have as much as I thought I would, because like when you're going in to make a story about people, there's a lot of like back work that has to be done, research, just people being comfortable with you filming because they're not used to that. And I hadn't thought about any of this.
Yeah.
My expectations were this is a longer YouTube video.
Yeah.
So it took a long time, then COVID happened, and I just kind of really got down on myself, and I just thought, like, what am I doing wrong? And Maddie was one of the people that was like, dude, it's a documentary.
Yeah.
What do you expect? Like,
Yeah.
look at The Last Dance, or like, look at like some of these films that have been worked like in years in the making.
Hoop Dreams, one of my favorite docs, 7 years.
So when I reevaluated my expectations of myself and what I needed to do as far as making this project, it became more fun, became more of a challenge. I was more open to doing it differently and accepting that this wasn't what I am, it's not my comfort zone, and that's okay. And then that helped a lot.
I remember one of the most encouraging things I ever heard of is David Fincher, one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
One of the first films he made, he came off that set and was like, I think I'm gonna quit filmmaking. That was so difficult. And I was actually on a big commercial series that we were traveling the world, and I was feeling the same way. And just hearing that one of my favorite directors felt that same way, I was like, okay, so I don't have to feel like a failure when I feel like the project isn't working out.
Yeah.
I need to just realize that I need to step back, reevaluate, and jump back in. And often it's just like learning one small adjustment.
Yeah, I definitely have thought about throwing in the towel a few times. And it's funny because like this is a dream project.
Yeah.
If you were to ask like 16-year-old Pete, like if you could film anything, what would it be? It's literally this. I grew up with posters of this guy on my walls. And now I'm in his house, and he's like singing for me as I'm filming.
That's crazy.
It's the two of us, and I'm like, how did I get here? So when I think about it like that, I'm like, why would I ever quit that? But if I just gone in with a better mentality and a better setup, if I was just more prepared, I think I would have been off to a better start.
Documentaries are rewarding, but also some of the most grueling, and you can't fast track them. If you treat your documentary like a human, it's like you gotta spend time with it, you gotta actually engage with it, and the best relationships are the ones that you're actually most intentional with, and you have to kind of treat your documentary like a job at one point. Mm-hmm. Like you have to be like, okay, I'm taking time off, I'm only working on it this week, or Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, I'm working on my film.
I would even say to an extent, like, I'm working on my film by even just having you over. Mm-hmm. I need help with this. Like, it was like admitting like, yo, you can't do this on your own because you're not a documentary filmmaker. You're trying to make one and you can, that's fine. But I think you need to enlist someone that is an actual professional within this field of cinematography and filmmaking in that very specific niche. And that's you. So
I'm flattered. This happens to everyone. You have hours of footage, and it begins just swirling around your head. And sometimes just having someone come in partway through to take a quick snapshot, the bird's eye view.
This dude watched the first minute, and we've been working on this for years. He blew our minds in the first minute. He's like, can I jump, just pause, can I jump in? He said one thing, and both Kirk and I were like,
That's usually all it is. That happened for me recently on my recent feature, like 90% of the way there, and it was just, it took sitting with the edit and getting one piece of advice from someone else. And it was actually the guy who runs Art of Documentary with me, Mike, came in and he gave me one piece of advice, and it changed everything for me. He looked at the film and said, he's like, did someone else give you notes? Like, because we got really insecure about some notes that someone sent me through, and he's like, because the first edit you ever sent to me was you, Mark. He's like, go back to that, and it was it just relieved me of the pressure. Like I was like, oh yeah, I need to make films the way I make films, not the way I hope someone else will like it. The quickest way to make a bad film is to try to please your audience. Well, Pete, you're gonna crush this project. I'm here, I'm around.
Thank you.
I want to see rough cuts.
if you want to hear more about the struggles of it, we have another video where you can check that out.
over on your channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna unload on this guy. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks.
And I'm glad that you didn't break anything sliding down the pole.
Just my ego. Don't even have pro.
No, that's easy to prepare.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, see you, Pete. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Pete, for letting me hang out at your office. It was super cool to finally get to see it in person. I'm back here at my office now because we're about to do our monthly AOD call with all of our students. We get to hear everyone's pitches, they ask questions. It's a fun time to hang out with everyone from the AOD community. But just want to kind of summarize about the idea of working on a longer film. You can see for people like myself and seasoned filmmakers like Peter, doing larger documentaries can still catch you off guard. There's just so much footage to work through. And we have a lot of techniques we teach in our course about how to whittle all that footage down. But one of the most important things I would say when you go out to film is know why you're filming that day. Know why you're hitting record. You have to be care of the cool trap. Just hitting record because something looks cool doesn't mean it's going to work out in your film. Letting that be your instinct in documentary is going to create a world of pain in your edit. So know why you're filming that day. Ask yourself, does this help my story? Does it get closer to our character in our film answering the question that they're asking? If the footage you're shooting that day doesn't relate to either of those, then there's probably not a reason to pick up your camera and go film. You certainly are allowed to, but it's just gonna add more footage to your hard drives and more time in your edit and slow you down ultimately if it's not helping the story. I'll see you guys on the next.